Hello, everybody, and welcome to Check-In by TMR. For this episode, I wanted to talk to someone who is directly involved in the industry segment that has had the fastest growth since the pandemic started: travel insurance. According to market research, the global travel insurance market, which was estimated to be worth about $21 billion in 2019, is expected to close to double by 2028, with projected worth of $40 billion that year. That's a massive growth for an industry segment that has long been a part of people's bookings and people's vacations, but one that's gotten more light and more shine since the interruptions with vacations started early in 2020. I know a lot of that growth has to do with the pandemic, but insurance providers are also increasing their value-added services. They are concentrating on differentiating their offerings from each other and preparing for what comes next in the world of travel disruptions, whether that is continued COVID interruptions, weather events, geopolitical events, airline cancellations, which are all things that the world has experienced over the past 12 months, or something else entirely. The travel insurance segment is responsible for looking far ahead and figuring out how they can best deal with an uncertain future and events that can change seemingly overnight. My goal with this episode was to hear from someone involved in the segment and try to get a bird's eye view of where insurance stands now, including what travel advisors need to know and what they need to understand in order to have the best conversations they can with their clients. I was very happy to talk to Richard Aquino, the Vice President and Head of Sales at Allianz Partners, one of, if not the largest travel insurance companies in the world, to talk about insurance and what's trending. Richard has been with Allianz for almost 18 years now and has some experience with other suppliers prior to joining the company in 2004. He's seen a lot during his tenure, including dealing with periods of sustained travel interruptions, most obviously and most recently being the COVID pandemic, and dealing with travel agents along the way. It's a quick conversation, but one I hope that is valuable to you, especially when you're talking to your clients about their next vacation. So let's check in with Richard. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I know you've been busy traveling, right?
Yes, the world is opened back up and in a big way.
So where have you how has your last couple of weeks been travel wise?
Intense. I mean, I was in Paris with a partner conference, and then I moved over to Lisbon from Paris to head to Virtuoso Travel Symposium. And actually, I took a few days off and went to the Dominican Republic with my family. And then next week it's down to Orlando, and the week after it's to Buffalo, and then it keeps on going from there.
How is Europe? I haven't been to Europe since I can't remember when, to be honest. I mean, how is Europe? Europe feels fairly normal now.
Yeah, open, beautiful, welcoming. Some masks are around, no doubt. I think it's more talking about travel insurance. It's just travel in general. It's just very stressful having to go to Paris to Lisbon, right? Because you have to get a test, and then you have to get a test from Lisbon to get to the United States, which is again stressful. Yeah. And actually, a bunch of people have gotten COVID, so we're working on cases and stuff like that. So, but I'd say the only stressful thing is really coming back to the United States.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been to Canada, so I haven't been to Europe, but I've been to Canada and Mexico, and I was definitely stressed out getting that test the day before trying to come back to the U.S. Because I guess you just never know, especially when you're around people. It feels so comfortable when you're at resorts or at these big hotels, and then you don't know if you're going to have a positive test on the way back.
Yeah, and even with the people who had the positive test, they were asymptomatic. I mean, they were fine. You know, I'm hoping, and ASTA's pushing for it too, to get, you know, that the testing will stop to come back to the U.S. Because it's a stressor, and I think people are going anyway. I just think the floodgates will open, especially for business travel once that's done.
Yeah, and I know the mask mandate is talked about a lot too, like similar to the testing mandate, but the testing mandate seems like the bigger hurdle to return to normal travel. Like the mask, it's people seem comfortable enough with the masks now, but the testing one seems like a bigger hurdle. Is that what you think too?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely, most definitely. I mean, I know people, and CBS just said they did a poll, so I take this with a grain of salt because I'm not, don't fact check me, but
Okay.
they said 60% of people don't care about wearing a mask. I mean, it's fine that it's like it's extended and stuff. So I think it really, when you travel, you might even feel a little more comfortable going through customs with a mask on because you're with, 300 people in line.
Yeah.
So I think that's fine. And being on a plane, it's uncomfortable, but you can still eat and drink and breathe. And so I think it's the test is really the driver there.
Yeah, so I have a lot of questions about travel insurance, but I want to ask you one more personal question. Just because you've been traveling so much and you've sort of spent a career traveling constantly. I mean, do you have any tips or tricks for when you're doing this constant travel not to get overwhelmed? Especially, I mean, I get asked that a lot because I travel like I'd say more than some of the people I know, and they ask me for sort of these kind of things. But I mean, do you have any tips or tricks getting through airport security, things like that? I mean, or does it all come down to trusted traveler programs?
It comes down to trusted travelers
Yeah.
programs. I mean, I think one of the things that relieves stress right now is going back to COVID and getting tested. It's like I always reach out to the hotel, find
Okay.
out if the concierge, find out if there's on-site testing, find out where the closest testing site is. And I just feel a little more comfortable knowing, yes, it's in my hotel, or the concierge saying like it's a block, there's a pharmacy like down the street, it's $12 and you'll have your test in 15 minutes. That makes me feel a little more comfortable traveling. And of course, I don't know why everybody doesn't have, global entry, but that's
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
story.
So I wanted to ask because travel insurance, I don't want to call it a winner over the pandemic, but it's been sort of the importance of travel insurance seems to have been stressed more than ever over the past couple 2 or 3 years, 2 years at this point. And I'm curious. I mean, how has the pandemic sort of impacted Allianz's business in general, and sort of the importance of this component to a vacation too?
You know, Travel insurance is one of those things that every advisor knows that they usually offer because you need to take it, right? Because when something bad happens or somebody needs a helping hand in a foreign country or on a trip, a lot of times the travel agent gets a call, right? And what can they do if whether you have COVID or you fell down the steps and or need some medical attention. So I think
Yeah.
I think it's helping. So it's always been part of I'll say a booking. But I think what this has done is really educate the consumer that things can go wrong, and if they do go wrong, really for a small percentage of your trip cost, for us, you've got this huge global, the largest assistance company at your fingertips. So I think it just brings more awareness to the consumer
Yeah.
because of the unknown from COVID, and then it's educating to them to it also covers for trip cancellation for this. It also covers for my flight's delayed. So I think it's bringing awareness up.
Yeah, and from the travel agents and travel advisors I've been speaking to, they seem to have an easier time selling it now to their clients than they had before because they don't have to they don't have to describe what it does. It seems to be almost coming from the other end now as opposed to them presenting it.
Right. Yeah. And there's statistics everywhere that, 80% of the people take it, 90% of the people take it. It's, where do they go to get it? Who knows? I mean, internet, or most of the time it's with the travel advisor. I, unfortunately, the only thing I can think of, and I wasn't in travel insurance when 9/11 happened. I was in the tour space. So 9/11 people, policies didn't cover for terrorism. They were added at that time. So
Okay.
people knew, that's why that put travel insurance on the map, as unfortunate it is. And again, I was in the tour space and it really was like, well, what if I have to cancel because something happens? So this is kind of that large event that's happened that brings awareness to a product.
Yeah, it seems fairly obvious, and I know consumers are thinking differently about it, and but I read some consumer coverage about travel insurance this week in the New York Times. I don't know if you saw the article.
No, I did
Um,
not.
but it was just about how claims have slowed down, and their article was about tips about how if you're a traveler and you want to get your claim process, here's tips how to get your claim process quicker. And I'm just curious, is that your experience now with Allianz? Is that claims have slowed down, and like there are common mistakes consumers or even advisors are making in order to get that claim process as quickly as possible?
So I think I can't say no fast enough to the claim slowing down.
Okay, okay.
I mean, if you think about it, if you or a family member, or a traveling companion get COVID, chances are with the majority of our policies, especially in the retail segment, which are it's covered. I mean, we're going to cover you for trip cancellation. So people get COVID, a loved one gets COVID, and you have to cancel. So we're still seeing that being a big driver. And as to the second part of your question,
Yeah.
regarding like, what do you need to get a claims filed? I think one is when the majority of what I represent is the agency channel, right? And most agents, that's the benefit to working with an agent. They know,
Yeah.
okay, you can't go because of COVID or someone got ill. So so they have these documents, and I'm not saying they fall for the traveler, but it's always, they're experts. They know you're going to need this document from the cruise line. You're going to need this document from your doctor showing COVID. So those things really help the process move forward. And I think, people are, from when I first entered this business 17 years ago, I think people and agents are much more educated what you need. And we've actually made documentation like less, that you need less to file a claim. And also you can file things on your phone, you can upload them. So there's so many ways that you can get us the information, and you have them on your phone. It's just made the process much more easy from a consumer standpoint. And from us, we want to pay the claim. Give us the right documents. Here's your money. We want a good experience. So you ask for Allianz again.
Yeah, I mean, are those what your best partners, your best travel advisor partners are doing? Are they just being aware of, they just, because they've done it so often, they know what they need, they know what their client needs, and they're also using the tools you're providing?
They do. And
Yeah.
look, a personal story for me. I had to cancel a great trip many years ago because my wife got ill. So, and she's great now. Everything's, but I had a trip booked that was costly. That her and I were going away, and that never happens when you have 3 kids, by the way. I filed a claim and I booked it through a travel agent. Got the documents in, and then I just booked it again. Like I rebooked it. And I think the opportunity is for an agent, they know that someone's canceled. We have commission protection. So there a lot of times they're filing a commission protection claim. But I think the good news is if the agent's part of it, even providing some documentation, the traveler wants to go again. And if they get their money back, chances are they're just going to rebook. And I think that's a good circle to be in as an advisor.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never considered that, because you are getting it is a good deal. It seems like a good deal for travel advisors. Obviously not when your client loses a vacation, but they are able to sort of get a commission on that second trip now too.
Right.
Right?
I mean,
So I'm curious how Allianz's end of things have changed during the pandemic. Like you spoke about the demand changing, but I imagine the team at Allianz, it's a tough task to keep up with what has to be written into these policies in order to cover the majority of your clients. And like I know coverage terms were added to the coverage along the way, but that can't be sort of a job that's ever finished.
no, it's not. We're always evolving as a company.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, we have our Allianz advantages, right? So to us, that means we have our partners who sell our products, and our travelers and their customers who travel. And our job is to make the best products in the industry that are relevant and meaningful. And I think the landscape is constantly changing. So we have to look ahead, and we do look ahead. And, with the pandemic, it's taught us, what's the next thing on the horizon? Who knows and has a crystal ball? But, we definitely have the right products in the market, we think, for today and tomorrow. And I'll give you an example off of the COVID, why, what I think is relevant. We have, if your flight is delayed, depending on your policy, for so many hours, we actually have direct claim payments. Like, we'll track your airline. If you're traveling with a family of 5 and you're stuck in an airport for so many hours, we'll send you $100 per person, right? So just, you get a
Okay.
text, it's there. So that doesn't mean too much now in COVID, because it's all COVID.
Yeah.
But can you imagine, with all the flight delays that have happened over the last 4 to 5 months, being in an airport, knowing you're getting a direct claim payment? And I don't know about you, but 5 kids in an airport, a family of 5, can really rack up being stuck there for so many hours.
Yeah.
So I think I'll just say that we've evolved with COVID. We didn't add COVID coverage, by the way. We added pandemic coverage
Yeah.
because we looked ahead. What's next? But there's still, we still look at our medical coverage, and being primary. We still look at inconveniences that come along the way. That how can we make your journey a little bit better? That was a long answer.
No, I mean, so how many hours do you have to be delayed in the airport in order to get that?
It depends on your product. It could be
Okay.
3 hours or 6 hours.
Okay. Yeah, I had a delay coming back from Florida a couple weeks ago. That was, oh no, it was an overnight. It ended up as an overnight delay after a lot of stops and starts. So that
Yeah.
probably would have been useful for
Yeah,
me.
and if your flight's canceled and you're scurrying for, where to find a hotel room, you call our assistance number and say, look, I'm delayed here. Can you get me can you get me a hotel? So they're gonna find a hotel pretty quickly for you, and help out when you need a kind of a helping hand.
So, I mean, you mentioned that the claims haven't slowed down. Are a lot of and I know I've seen the headlines and I've written about the headlines about all these major delays over even the past couple of weeks. It seems to have gotten worse with a lot of airlines. But is COVID still the biggest driver of claims right now for Allianz?
Yes, it
Okay.
is. Because you had a variant. We've got another variant, and
Yep.
look, we're moving out of the pandemic stage. So we're moving out of the stage. There's still variants. People still get it, and people still can't travel. So it's needed. And maybe the claims are shifting now because people can't come back to the U.S. So now a claim is like, look, I'm stuck in Lisbon for 5 days. I need a hotel and food, and how are you going to help me do that? So that becomes that probably a lot of the claims that we see too, but they're still COVID related.
So I mentioned I was in Florida and it was at the Cruise 360 conference. So there was a ton of advisors there and everything was very positive, which I feel like it should be because it does feel like the industry has gained its feet back under it, and it's definitely sees the future as opposed to sort of dealing with the COVID concerns. But the first person to bring up the new variant was Daniel Durazo, who's Allianz, who's one of your colleagues. And it's interesting that you bring up the variants too. It seems travel insurance is more focused on what could happen, the potential of what could happen, the people who work in travel insurance, than sort of some of the other suppliers.
Yeah, yeah. Like, first, the world's opening up, and I think everybody's traveling. And my personal view is, it's like you're going to have a cold. I mean,
Yeah.
but you always have to be forward thinking of, the next curveball that could come in insurance, because we have to be prepared for it, staffed for it, ready for it. And just like homeowners insurance, I guess they look at wildfires and hurricanes, right? We look at travel trends and what could slow that down, or if it doesn't slow it down, how can we bring value to the product to keep it going? That's really the goal.
So you said you don't have a crystal ball, but I mean, what is next? I mean, is it just going to be back to normal, back to hurricanes impacting the Caribbean travel season, sort of at the end of the summer? Is it going to be these big events again that are gonna be causing the next wave of interruptions, or is it just impossible to tell?
Well, it's impossible, and boy, when I started predicting the stuff in COVID, being COVID, boy, was I wrong. So, but what I think is there's things that happen that that allow a travel advisor to help protect someone's investment, right? So those are unfortunately hurricanes, wildfires, because you want to have you want your dream to take place. And if it doesn't take place, you don't want your client calling up saying like, I lost my investment, where's my money? And like, you didn't have travel insurance. Like, I recommended it. Sorry, you didn't get it, but you don't have it. I do think those bring light to travel. But I think COVID and the different variants will be on the headlines for the next 12 to 18 months until no testing, no issues. A variant is like getting a cold and the world is vaccinated.
Yeah, it seems like that too. I mean, I've had points in the last year or two where it always seems to be dying down, and then there's a new variant, like you mentioned, or the rules get changed sort of out of nowhere sometimes. I'm in New York too, so the rules, like the local rules, constantly get changed here too. So it seems all these stops and starts, all these sort of hopeful moments have been crushed. But hopefully, it seems like things, like you mentioned, maybe 12 to 18 months is the time frame for that.
And look, we hope it doesn't happen, but just like in New York or Paris, if you're in a major city and you're on the trip and something happens, again, that's why you need travel insurance. That's why you need Allianz to protect your investment there. But it's the unknowns are so uncharted that whether you're going to a New York play that's open today, but in 4 months, who knows? I mean, it's just the world we live in right now until we stabilize a little bit more.
Yeah, we've had headlines here in New York about actors, like major actors who are on these Broadway plays getting COVID and that's 2 weeks of shows that they're missing too. And a lot of people are coming into town just to see those shows. So that's that is something to consider. So I wanna ask you about travel agents in particular now, because we are seeing a lot of new advisors come into the industry. A lot of advisors expand what they're offering to their clients too, which I know that includes travel insurance. And I'm curious if you have any advice for advisors who want to focus more heavily on travel insurance, or new advisors who haven't yet sold the product. Is there any common mistakes that you've seen throughout your career? Any advice you have for people who are first looking into how to sell or market this to their clients?
Yeah, I'd say, a travel agent and a travel advisor is not really, I don't think, selling insurance, right? They're
Okay.
just positioning it. So my advice is, pick an Allianz product, pick one that fits the need of your traveler. Because there's a few different products, almost like, there's better, best, and deluxe kind of thing if you think about it.
Yeah.
But know one product really well and just offer it to the product. Let the technology let it do its work. What I mean by that is you can sign Agent Max, you can build a quote, and then let the Agent Max send out a reminder 2 or 3 times. You can also send out a waiver if somebody declines it. So let technology do the work a little bit. Know one product. Don't adjudicate. Don't say what's covered, what's not. Offer it in high level of this covers for primary medical. This covers for trip cancellation. There's 26, 28 reasons to cancel your trip. It covers loved ones, cousins. So know a little bit about it, but really, if there's detailed questions, put them back to us, give them our phone number, and let them ask questions for us with the details. Because you don't want to represent a product that's not there. That's why we say position the product and the features, but don't sell the product. Let the product sell itself, or let them talk to us with detailed questions about medical conditions or details. Because an advisor, might not know the whole story when somebody's booking a policy, and we don't want an advisor asking uncomfortable questions about health and things like that.
So the one policy that sort of got mentioned a lot was the cancel at any time policy, and that seemed to be, the name of it seems to imply that it's incredibly comprehensive. And is that right? I mean, is that sort of one of the safer policies that Allianz offers?
Well, yes, you can cancel for a bad hair day there and get 80% back.
Okay.
If you cancel for a cover reason, you get 100% back. that's a great product. But we also have our other product line, like our Classic, which 50,000 medical, has a lot of covered reasons. And most people, by the way, still cancel for a covered reason. The cancel anytime is good for bad hair days. It's a strong product, but other product lines might fit the bill.
And advisors, again, that segment of new advisors or advisors who want the introduction to Allianz, all this, you mentioned Agent Max, and that's the advisor portal, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So like we have a large field sales team. We do a lot of trainings. In fact, during COVID, we our WebEx would crash because we had 700 agents on a WebEx training. Oh my God. It was crazy things, right? Normally you're on for Silver Sea to learn about the Silver Dawn, how good, how nice of the ship that is. So things have changed a little bit, but we have the Travel Agent Academy, which you can enroll and learn about the products. We have online tutorials, of course. There's easy technology. And then, we can get set up to sell, and you can ask, what's the best product? And this is the type of trips I offer, because we are seeing a lot of new advisors come into the market space. And there's no better time to use a travel advisor than today. I mean, I wouldn't book a trip to grandma's house without using a travel advisor.
Yeah, I know. When I was stuck in Florida, it was great to be able to call somebody when everyone else was on the line to speak to the attendants of the flight I was on too. It felt like a gift, to be honest. Being able to change my flight before everyone else ahead of me. Yeah. So I want to ask you one more thing, and just again, maybe for that segment who hasn't booked a ton of travel insurance, or just the new ones in the industry too. I mean, how big of an opportunity is adding travel insurance to someone's booking for them, for their bottom line, and even for their client relationships?
Well, I'll say it's bottom line and peace of mind, right? So the reason why you should offer Allianz travel insurance is for several reasons. One, there's compensation attached to it. I mean, you're offering a product. We pay, very good commissions in the industry. I mean, double that with cruise lines. On a cruise or cruise line waivers or things of that nature. But financially, it's a win. And then the other thing, if something bad happens, you're the hero to your travel. And I'm talking before or during your trip, right? I mean, again, it goes back to, that's where I say you got the largest global assistance company in the world. So Allianz can say that, where we are in multiple countries, we speak multiple languages. We have a Travel Smart app that lets you connect to us, instantaneously if you need assistance, as well as see your policies and get, geolocation to a hospital if you need it. So there's so many reasons. There's the financial reason. There's the financial reason to your customer, because look, I was a travel agent. If something happened, it was always my fault, right? So, I mean, you didn't tell me about this. Now I'm losing $8,000. No, here's travel insurance. I have the waiver. We sent you the documentation. And then if it's a covered claim, which usually it is, right? You got your commission protection. So you're going to get paid if your commission's recalled. And then you've got the traveler who's got the refund, who wants to book that lifetime trip again. They're most likely going to rebook, and they're going to use you because they've got their money back. So I think I could go on all day of the benefits to it. So I think I don't think there's a reason not to offer travel insurance.
So I know that background is the latest Winter Olympics. But where are you located near the Virginia offices for the Allianz?
Well, Allianz is in Virginia. I get to work from home from outside of Baltimore, Maryland. So okay. So steamed crabs and all that kind of stuff.
And how long have you been in Baltimore, or I guess outside of Baltimore?
I've been through different parts of Maryland for my entire life. So
okay. Yeah, I haven't been to Baltimore, but I've heard very good things about Baltimore. It's sort of a unique American city from what I've heard.
It's almost like a mini New York, I'll say. What else would people tell me?
All right. Well, again, thanks for your time. I know schedules are getting very very busy, so I can't thank you enough. And I think this was pretty this was pretty informational and educational for a lot of my readers too.
Oh, look, I enjoyed it. To talk to you anytime, and thank you for thinking of Allianz and talking to us. And look forward to seeing you out there at one of these events on the road.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll see you very soon. But yeah, have a great holiday weekend if you celebrate. And yeah,
Yep,
I'm sure I'll talk to you very soon.
yep. Thank you.
Bye.